All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead with this webinar. We may be joined by a couple more folks here in a moment, but we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to the Try This 2016 webinar, Mini Grants webinar. We'll go through each of these slides, and if there are questions at the end, please ask them. We expect this to take about 30 to 35 minutes, give or take. And this is designed for people who have done mini grants before and want a good refresher, also want to learn some more about the new stuff we're doing this year. And for folks who have never done a mini grant before or never even written a grant, we hope it'll be valuable for you as well. So thanks, everybody. Let's dive right in. So here's what we'll cover in this webinar. First things first, the mini grants themselves. What are they? What do they look like? Second, we'll go over some tips for completing your mini grant application. Third, we'll do deadlines, and so that everyone knows clearly when everything is due. We'll take some question and answer if there are any, and then we'll do talk about some of the other breakout sessions and a conference wrap-up as well. We'll also end by giving you all kinds of resources you can use after this webinar. All right, first things first, mini grants, the basics. We have the amount for your mini grant can be anywhere between $500 and $3,000, and our hope is to be able to offer about 40 of these mini grants. We are currently raising funds from all different partners who want to see your project succeed. There are 7 components to your mini grant application. This is important because if you don't get any one of the components in, you won't be qualified to receive a mini grant. So we'll go through them one by one. First, you're going to need SMART goals, and we'll talk about what those are. But basically, you need to be specific about what your mini grant is going to achieve. Second, there's a one-pager where you put together who's on your team, what they're contributing, and then what the overall budget is for the mini grant. Third, we'll ask you to submit a one-page description of your project. We try to make this not an overly burdensome application. We just want a short, simple, concise, good description of what it is you're trying to do. Fourth, we asked you for 2 letters of commitment. Try This is really about getting your whole community involved, and we want to see that there are at least 2 other partners or organizations who are committed to your work and what they're committing to do. Fifth, you need to complete the Try This checklist. Even if you've done one before, we find it's good to do a new one each year to get a sense of where your community is, what the key needs are, and where you want to focus your efforts. Sixth, you must sign at least one set a good example contract. That's because we want to see for our mini grants that it's not just about the projects, but it's how is your organization living up to these principles of healthy food and physical activity in your day-to-day. And that's true here in this office where we are today. Whenever we have a meal, we only do healthy foods. We try to do physical activity breaks whenever we have meetings that go longer than an hour. That sort of thing. How are we walking the walk? And finally, with your mini grant, there's a long-term planning document. We're not interested in one-time projects. We want you to be able to build stuff that will last. And so there's a one-page set of questions about what you're doing to make sure the project lasts. The application is due June 16th, totally completed. You know, it's an exciting thing. You're going to come to the conference June 3rd and 4th, and then you'll have 12 days to hustle and get whatever application materials you still need together. We want to keep the momentum from the conference, but also give you enough time to go back to your community, add members to your team, develop the idea a little bit more, etc. But again, due June 16th, totally completed. Let's take a quick look at the website so we can see the actual application. Let's see. All right, just pulling this up real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, so dun, 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 dun. You should now be seeing the Try This website. Okay, Bear with us. Okay, so you should be seeing the Try This website right now. If you haven't been here, welcome. This is an exciting website that you should definitely check out for more than just looking at your mini grants. Just to show you a second of what you can find here. As you scroll over each one of these slides, each one of these photos, you can get more information about these particular things. Basically, you've got 85 different possible mini grants right here at your fingertips, literally. Want to start a youth sports league? You can click on this page and see what it's like and find other people in West Virginia who have done it. But we want to look particularly at the mini grants page, and you want to make sure you're taking the time to do this before you apply. Basically, this is a way to cheat on your application when cheating is encouraged, as we'll talk about later. So you click on the mini grant page, and you're going to find everything you need to make sure your application is as good as possible. Scroll down. Here is the link to the mini grant application, so you can look at that. Also, you can download the checklist here. It's as simple as clicking. And then we even show you the actual scoring sheet that our team will use when they're evaluating. So you can see exactly what we're looking for and exactly how we're going to score your application. So make sure to use this, but we're only getting started. This website is also terrific. This page is also terrific to see who's eligible for mini grants, where can you get ideas, some specific mini grant projects that have happened in the past, and then you can actually look at the entire list of all the mini grants we gave out in 2014 and 2015. Now, we're not saying you should necessarily do those things, but it's great for inspiration. We want to see your own creativity as well, but if you want to see what's happened the last 2 years to get your wheels turning, we strongly encourage you to do so. And all of that is available on the website. Okay, so let's move back to the PowerPoint and go through all the different elements of the mini grants. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, here you go. Okay, so let's go into some of the details here. We went over the mini grant basics. Now we want to do the mini grant requirements. So this is the most important slide. It goes through everything you need to know to be able to even apply for your mini grant. First, you must complete all 7 of those components of the application. Again, we've tried to make them really simple and also useful for you, but you do need to do all 7. Number 2, you need to have a team that includes at least 3 partners or organizations who attended the Try This conference. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. You need a team that includes at least 3 partners or organizations who attended the Try This conference. So you may be sitting there saying, well, I've only got me and 1 other person. I guess I can't apply for a mini grant. That's not true. Come to the conference with you and your partner and then use the conference as a way to find other people to bring onto your team. They just need to be 3 different partners or organizations that are at the conference together, and you can find people at the conference if you don't have them now. Also, it is totally encouraged to include people on your team who weren't at the conference. We just need at least 3 of them to have been at the conference, and that's so that you've got a core group of people who are really bought in and they've been through all the trainings and everything else. But your conference can be 8 people, it can be, your team can be 8 people or 15 people. We've seen projects that have 12, 14 different organizations all signed on, and that's wonderful. We want to see a team. What it can't be is 1 person or 1 organization, because we want to see how folks are working together and that you build something that's sustainable, where even if, heaven forbid, you lose somebody, you've still got the passion and the power to keep it going. Okay, you also need a requirement, a 501c3 organization. That's a tax classification, but basically it just means a community organization, a religious institution, many hospitals are 501c3s, family resource networks. There are lots of 501c3 organizations that you might be able to partner with, including some at the conference. But we need one of those so that we can write the check to that group. If you struggle with that or anything on this list, reach out to us. Our job is to be here and help out. Number 4, Commit to a mid-year report and a final report. This is big. We want to be able to tell our funders and our partners, look at all the amazing stuff you did. We want to be able to brag about your work. And so the way we do that is we ask for 2 reports, one about 3 months after you've received your funds to see how it's going, and one at the end to track all the amazing stuff that you did. That's really important. It's also, we hope, a good learning opportunity for you about how to report and how to craft a report for other grants you might be seeking. Finally, your project must be completed by August 2017. So that gives you next summer, this summer and next summer to complete your project. We prefer projects to be completed by May 1st, 2017 if possible, but you can extend as far out to August 2017. If your project is not going to launch until September of 2017 or January of 2018, that's probably too far out. You should go ahead and apply for a mini grant next year. Finally, we want to see matching. It could be matching funds or in-kind contributions or leadership or whatever. Okay, next up. What are some of the things that people do for their mini grants? You've got big shoes to fill. So number one, I'm just going to run through these very quickly, and then we're going to get a chance to look at some of the pictures, which are more fun. We see a lot of projects for community and youth gardens. One new project we saw this year was a toolberry, where folks in Wheeling use their mini grant dollars to purchase some tools that then could be farmed out like a library to community gardens and individuals who wanted to plant their own gardens and organizations who wanted to start a garden. Playgrounds and play areas. Trail development projects are great because you have this big impact and you build something that's going to last. Walking and running groups. Community biking initiatives. You can create bike trails and promote biking. Healthy community coalitions and conversations. We love seeing these. Maybe you use your mini grant dollars to hire a Vista to help get a community conversation or dialogue happening in your community that goes beyond 1 year. We've seen a few really great examples of those, and you pick 1 or 2 projects, but you're also creating this lasting coalition or conversation. Training programs, capacity building. Maybe you want to train teachers or after-school programs in your area to do more physical activity. That's a great use of a mini grant. Shared use agreements, healthy classrooms. We love work that happens in schools because you can multiply your impact. Maybe you get half a dozen schools in your county to open up their doors after hours to be used as recreation centers. That would be great, and you don't need a lot of money to do it. Farmers market expansion or farmers market creation. This is a great way to open up new markets for local farmers, increase access to healthy foods, support the local economy. We love projects like that. Healthy food banks and backpack programs. If you're interested in child hunger and feeding nutritious foods to kids, we want to help. Vermiculture, gardening and healthy cooking, riverfront development, and on and on and on. Again, the best place to find ideas is to scroll through that website and look at what amazing things West Virginians from across the state are already doing and get inspiration. Here are some of the, this is what this looks like. This is going to be you next year. We're going to take pictures and put them online of all the exciting work that you're going to do. You see, this is a garden that's in a child care center. Getting kids hooked on healthy vegetables early. Here's a walking club in Mount Hope. In Matewan, they did a bike-friendly initiative that included connecting trails and advertising biking and doing community events to encourage biking. The Fayetteville Outdoor Adventure 4-H Club. This is a project to get high school students and middle school students to take advantage of some of the really great opportunities in Fayetteville that they may not be able to afford otherwise. We see a lot of projects around playgrounds, and this is Hamlin K-8 playground. This is the Wyoming County SAD chapter. They've applied for grants in the last 2 years and have been rewarded both years. So if you've applied before, apply again. We want to see an expansion of a project or a new element. We won't fund the exact same thing every year, but we love funding groups more and more as they build out all of the great work that they're doing. So in Wyoming County SAD chapter, they've started things like biking clubs. They've sent kids on 5Ks. They've planned their own 5K, et cetera, et cetera. We see lots of projects in schools to keep kids moving, as I mentioned. This is a look at the natural playground that's being built out in Weston. They've done a great job of leveraging other funds and hospital funds and city of Weston funds to take their mini grant and make it even bigger and better. This is the POP program at the Bridgeport Farmers Market, a really creative way to get kids excited about fruits and vegetables. I had over 300 kids participate this past year. This is one of the community coalitions we mentioned, where folks are coming together to work on all of these issues, and it's built to last. Also, you can see they've got healthy food at their meeting, which we strongly encourage. Healthy Bodies, Healthy Spirits. This is our sort of sister partner coalition that's working in congregations. We'd love to see projects that are based in congregations as one more way to bring people into healthy living. Here's a high tunnel garden in Williamson. You can do with the $2,000 or $3,000 mini grant, you can leverage the funds you need to build a permanent high tunnel garden. Next up, tips for mini grants. Tip number one, we should have a drum roll here. Tip number one, fall in love. We want you to pick a project or a set of projects that you are passionate about. There isn't a right answer. That's why we have these 85 different options, and why we want to see your creativity to go even beyond that. We want you to find a project that you are in love with and that your community is in love with. This stuff is hard. You're going to run into barriers. You're going to encounter things that you weren't expecting. So pick something that you really love so you can keep that passion going, even when it's the middle of December and no one's returning your emails and you really got to plow through and make it happen. Tip number two, build a big, strong team. You might be sitting there thinking, I can do this just by myself, or with me and my two partner groups that always work together, we can make this work. Instead, take the next month, 2 months, come to the conference, see if you can make that project, use this as an opportunity to get outside of the 2 or 3 groups you always work with and bring in the Commission on Aging, or bring on a school, or bring on a few schools, or bring on the city council. The best projects and the ones that are most likely to get funded are ones that show their impact going beyond the usual suspects or beyond one organization or one population. Maybe you've got a creative way to bring together seniors and childcare centers. You've got a creative way to get people involved in after-school programs that also connect to a local shelter. Maybe you want to do a community garden, but you want it to feed your local food bank. We love seeing that collaboration because, generally speaking, it means the project has a bigger impact and it's more likely to last. Tip number 3, steal. We want you to steal ideas from the mini grant page on the website and from the website in general. Steal ideas, steal how-tos. We do not want anybody reinventing any wheels around here. There's already a ton of great work happening in West Virginia. Steal. Tip number 4, cheat. We talked about this before. There's a bunch of great ways to cheat on your mini grant application. The first is read the scoring sheet. Know exactly how the team that's evaluating your project, how they're going to evaluate your project. We're not hiding anything. We want you to see exactly the process we use for evaluating mini grants. But there's other ways to cheat too. The other way to cheat is to give us a call. You can reach me. My contact information will be at the end of this webinar. You can reach Matthew Thompson and try this coordinator, who's our mini grant daddy. His contact information will be at the end of this webinar. Kate Long, try this co-director. Her information will be at the end of this. There are a number of us, the 3 of us, but also anyone on our steering committee would love to hear from you. If you've got a project that you want to talk about, we'd love to give you ideas. We'd love to help you make your application stronger. So take advantage of that. It's free help, and it's a way to get a leg up on your project. Tip number 5, we've talked about this a little bit, but I'll say one more word about it. Find a captive audience. One of the ways that we've seen some mini grant projects struggle, or some of the projects we don't fund, are ones that are trying to do something all by themselves. They create a community garden, but there's not a clear captive audience. It's not attached to a school, or it's not attached to a Commission on Aging, or it's not attached to a food bank. Whatever you're doing, make sure that there's some audience, some community group that's already built in that's going to bring people there. And that's a great way to expand your impact and make sure that the project lasts. All right, here's what we're looking for. I mentioned the scoring sheet before. You can go into all the depth you want looking through it, but we want to go through very quickly what is on that scoring sheet, just so you have an idea of how to think about your project. We're going to look at the diversity, number one, the diversity and experience of your team. Again, these mini grants are not just about getting this cool project done. It's also about how do you get how do you build teams that last? Because we need teams that are going to do more than 1 year of work or one project. We're trying to turn around the whole state, right? So we want to see that your team has lots of people on it, and people from different walks of life, and people who have made things happen before. And maybe you've never worked together as a team before, but we want to see people on your team who have made things happen. Second, SMART goals. We're going to score you're going to get up to 15 points for your SMART goals. We're going to talk about what those SMART goals are, but we want to see very specific outcomes so that at the end of this project, you know, and we know, and our funders know exactly what you've accomplished, and that you've got these goals that are attainable and that you can reach. Number three, contributions of your team. We want to see that not only do you have this diverse, experienced team, but that you're getting them to contribute. We want to see that it's not going to all fall on your shoulders. We want to see all these different folks from your team really pitching in. Fourth, we're going to give you points based on how likely we think the project is to succeed. And fifth, we want to see projects that also have impact. And that's sometimes a balancing act. You want to pick a project that's bold and is going to have a big impact, but also one that you know you can achieve. Six, the sustainability. This is a big thing. We've mentioned it a couple of times. So we are looking for projects that are a sustainability, that are how to, basically what I want to see is that the great work that you're doing lasts. And so like we mentioned before, there's a whole sheet based on, talking through how your project will last, but we're also encouraging every group that's, especially if you're starting something new, to make a commitment in your application that you'll put together a how-to at the end of it and show other people how to do it. The last two things we're looking for in the mini grant application are the attachments. We mentioned those before, your checklist, the long-range planning document, the set a good example. You're going to get points based on how well those are filled out and that we get those back. And then finally, we have 5 points at the end for intangibles, for projects that are maybe particularly new or creative, or for projects that are existing in organizations or communities where we haven't worked before or that are particularly needy. We want to be able to give points for something that makes your project unique. All right, let's talk about SMART goals. Tip number 6, use SMART goals. A SMART goal, SMART is actually an acronym. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So you want to be able to look at those SMART goals you put at the top of your application. It's the first thing we ask for. And are there 3 or 4 of them that answer every one of these questions? Is that goal specific? Is that goal measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? Is it time-bound? So let's look at some specific examples. So we're going to look at examples of what a SMART goal is not and what a SMART goal is. And you may have to go through this process with your mini grant team, or give us a call and we'd be happy to talk through it with you. So number 1, a not SMART goal. We want some community gardens and a hot dog sale in our community, right? It's not specific. It's not measurable. It might be attainable, but not really. If it's not measurable, how do we know if we've attained it? It's not relevant, right? We aren't going to fund anything that says hot dog sale on it. Relevant in this case means we're looking for food and healthy food and physical activity related projects. And then is it time bound? Well, there's no deadline on this not SMART goal. So instead, how could we turn this into a SMART goal? Instead, we could say we will build 5 community gardens with 20 raised beds in each. That's pretty big for a community garden, which will provide vegetables to 100 families at our food bank weekly and get physical activity to 40 youth volunteers by June of 2017. Is it specific? Very. Is it measurable? Look, all those numbers. If your SMART goal doesn't include a number, it's not a SMART goal. Here we've got 5 or 6 numbers. Is it attainable? Well, the group would need to show us in their application that they could attain this, but yeah, this is attainable. Is it relevant? Absolutely. They've included both food and physical activity, which is great. We love to see projects that do both. And then is it time bound? Yep, there it is, by June 2017. And they've also put weekly in there, which is great. That shows us how frequently you're going to be able to produce whatever it is you're working on. So that's an excellent SMART goal. Let's look at one more example. We want to feed hungry kids in our communities with healthy food. Now that's a great goal, but it's not a SMART goal. It's a great aim, but it's not a SMART goal. How can we make that a SMART goal? How about this? We will raise the breakfast participation rate in our schools by 3%. That doesn't sound like a lot, but if you can raise that rate, that means 45,000 more meals will be served in the course of 1 year. And we will start a backpack program that will serve 75 elementary school kids, again, every week, put that time bound in there, from January 1 to June 1, 2017, with only a particular school we're serving. You've got some good examples there. One thing you'll notice from both of those SMART goals is that there were 2 sets of goals in each. And that's great. We love that. It's okay to combine projects. One question we get a lot is, well, can we do 2 mini grant applications from the same county? You can, and we have funded 2 applications from the same county before, but we love to see 2 applications from the same county combine, and we love to see people combining forces if possible. A couple other questions we get frequently, and I'll just go through some of our frequently asked questions as we're wrapping up here. Another question we get frequently is, can I or can my organization be listed on the teams of multiple projects? The answer is yes. We have some of our organizations like Keys for Healthy Kids, which does a lot of work with childcare centers, which is on the team of 4 or 5 different projects. And we love that. We love to see community groups getting resources and technical assistance and help from other groups. Sometimes we'll have extension agents who are on the team of 4 or 5 different projects. Again, that's great. We love to see as many people as possible taking advantage of the great technical assistance and support that's out there. However, what we don't like to see is more than one mini grant application from a single organization or from a single lead contact person. And the reason is because if we have that, we're going to say, well, why don't they just combine? Why don't they just make those things come together? So if you're thinking you've got 2 really great projects, same organization, same lead contact person, my strong advice would be to merge them. My other strong advice, which goes to all the rest of the frequently asked questions out there, is give us a call. This is not your traditional grant process where we want you to go work in isolation by yourself on an application and then send it in and cross your fingers. We want to hear from you. We would love every single one. We'd love to hear from 40 or 50 or 60 different teams in the next few weeks, calling us up saying, hey, this is what we're thinking about. What do you think? And we'll say, well, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Could you work with this person? Can we talk about what your SMART goals are so that you come into the conference with as much momentum as humanly possible? And then when you're at the conference, you get to a whole nother level. And then for the 12 days after the conference, you'll be more than ready to submit a wonderful application. So please, 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 if you have any questions at all, if you're nervous, if you're not sure if you qualify, if you've got a really big idea but you're not sure it's possible, if you have a question about something you saw on the website, if there's someone you want to get in touch with but you don't know how, get in touch with us and we'll be happy to make that connection. We want you to be successful. Here's our contact information. Matthew Thompson, our Try This coordinator and Mini Grant Daddy. Matthew at ourfuturewv.org, 304-539-2141. Stephen Smith, that's me, 304-610-6512. Or S. Smith at wvhealthykids.org. Or Kate Long, the best way to reach Kate is by email. And if you don't hear from us, follow up. The last 6 weeks of the conference are very busy for us. If we don't get back to you soon, it's not because we aren't interested. It might be because we lost your email in the crush of all the other emails. Just email us back or give us a call. you have permission to bug us if we do not get back to you soon. We want to answer your questions. The last bit of advice, and this is not required, but if you're listening to this webinar and you can do it, we'd strongly recommend it, is get your team together before the conference. You've got 6 weeks from right now before the conference happens. That's plenty of time. Get your team together, even if it's a conference call, better yet in person, where you can get, even if you've just got a couple of you so far, get together before the conference, go through the checklist together, go through the application together, go through the website together. You're going to be in such a better position at the conference if you've had a chance to meet and brainstorm and get to know each other and look at what the needs are in your community, what the opportunities are in your community, even before you get to the conference. Because then when you get to the conference, you're going to just dice it up and say, well, I'm going to go to this workshop and you go to that workshop and we'll meet in the middle and let's meet at lunch to go over X, Y, Z. But we find that the projects, many of the projects that are very best are ones where folks have been dreaming about and planning on their project for, if not the last few weeks, sometimes the last few months or the last year. If you've got a project that's been on the shelf you wanted to do forever, maybe this is the chance to make it happen. We hope so. Ready, set, go. We want to do a couple more resources that are out there. Special thanks to our funders, and they're the ones who are putting up the money for your mini grants. This is an incomplete list. We always are adding funders, but the Benedum Foundation, the Bureau for Public Health, Unicare, Anthem, the health insurance company, the McDonough Foundation, the Office of Child Nutrition, the Sisters Health Foundation, the Highmark Foundation, the American Heart Association, the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation, and Congregation of St. Joseph have all been great mini grant partners in the past. If you happen to be watching this and are interested in funding a mini grant, we try to make it very easy where you can put up your funds and we just put it into the pool of projects. A couple of things to be thinking about with your own mini grant project is we will put special emphasis. We have some mini grant dollars that are dedicated to specific kinds of projects, especially schools. So if you've got a school-related project, we have funds that are dedicated to that. A health department project, we have some funds that are dedicated to projects that include their health department. So you might be thinking that I've got this great project. Now would be a perfect time to call up your local health department and say, hey, can you be a part of my team? And that's going to increase your chances to be eligible for a mini grant. So schools, health departments, some specific counties where we get mini grants like the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation counties. If you have any questions about specific things, we also sometimes get mini grant dollars specifically for faith-based projects. So again, these are all the more reasons to include lots of different partners, your health department, your school, local congregations, because it's going to increase your likelihood to be awarded a mini grant. Last but not least, stay in touch. If you're looking for inspiration, the best way to find it on a day-to-day basis is our Facebook page, facebook.com/group/trythiswv, or just search Try This West Virginia. It's a public group on Facebook, which means you have to join. But once you join, anybody can post, and there's a lot of great back and forth where folks are sharing ideas. It's also a great place to go online and say, hey, here's my name, here's my county, I'm trying to do a project on this. Is there anybody who wants to be a part of my team? And I would be surprised if you post something like that and don't hear something back. Very last slide here on this webinar is just a reminder to go to the website if we haven't talked about it enough. Trythiswv.com, trythiswv.com/conference. If you're watching this before May 1st is the deadline for registering for the conference at the $100 rate. If you've got to pay by check, register now so you can lock in that $100 rate. Or if you're paying by credit card, register before May 1st to lock in that rate. At May 1, it goes up a little bit to $125, which is still very affordable and a very low price conference. If you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I can't afford $125, but I really want to come and I have a good idea, apply for a scholarship. We do have scholarships available for young people and for adults who wouldn't be able to come to the conference otherwise. It's something we're very proud to offer. Those go quickly on a first come, first serve basis. for most groups that apply for scholarships are able to get them at this moment, but if you try back in 2 weeks, they may not be there. To find out about scholarships, simply go to trythiswv.com/conference, click on the conference registration, and then there's a little column on the left side of the registration page which tells you exactly how to apply for a scholarship. We would love to see folks there who have been at the conference before, and we love to see people who haven't been before. We also have only a certain number of slots left, only about 150, 180 slots left. So apply now, and don't forget. Thanks, everyone. We are excited for this year. We think it's going to be the best year ever for Try This West Virginia, for the conference, for the mini grants, especially because of people like you who are working to put together really innovative, really powerful mini grant projects. Each year, our applications have gotten stronger, and we want to see best possible year from you guys. If you take one thing from this webinar, it's that you don't need to do this alone. Feel free to reach out to us, use the website, use the resources available, take advantage of this wonderful network we have that wants to be there to support you. We'll see you in June. Hope to hear from you soon. Have a great day.